Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi, something new. Well, I did it. YouTube. Starfield. And I got the getting in it early. So it costs a little bit more. So this isn't the first thing. Not going to ruin that for you. This is I'm off and I'm investigating. I'm not going to give a lot of the story away. I'm going to let you figure that out. You can watch a lot of other videos that are going to do that for you. I'm going to go over some of the combat kind of things that I'm doing. First thing you're going to see, let me back up even further. If you ever played Fallout 4, if you played Skyrim, you know exactly how to play this game. It's just set in space. So there's some different dynamics, right? You're going to be in a spaceship sometimes. There's some space combat that you're going to do. You're going to be scavenging, and of course, you're going to be looting things nonstop. Tons of notebooks and pencils because you're not sure what they're going to be used for. And one of the hallmarks of these games are when you're seeing the myriad of things, you're always checking all the things that you can loot, and you never know when that piece is going to be a critical thing that you need. So you're always looking for unique things. And that's like any game. You're looking for some unique things. Some things you have to hang on to or you got to go back. And although the travel in here is inside a game, I would be lying to you if, when I had to fast travel to Mars and then Neptune, I'm like, I don't want to go all the way back to, right? As you get immersed in the game, you become immersed in some of the things that are happening. Now, this is the lock picking section. I don't even know how to get the lock picking to work, so I eventually give up on it. And I think I've told you this. I'm not a person that has to do every single part of every game 100% where I don't miss it. I think I've done that once or twice in my life, and I think what I found was it's not that great of an experience. I kind of miss the joy of walking through it and appreciating things versus getting every single step of the way completed. Again, this is Starfield, if I didn't mention that. And on a bigger thing, steps, how granular do you make your steps in any process? That's Roxy, everyone. She's granular compared to the other dogs. So one of the things that, when you're making steps or you're making a process, how detailed do you make it? You can make it so detailed that it loses the effectiveness. And so what I found is if something's really key, it will pull you back to it. So if you're doing a process, again, if it's a one trial through process, you're going to be super, but baking, you should put a pinch of salt. Well, is a pinch of salt a half a teaspoon, and do I need to buy? Right, they're saying put some salt or salt to taste. And I'm not a great cook, so I always fumble over those things. If you give me a recipe where I can measure everything out exactly, I prefer that because that takes the onus off me for the cooking. I'm doing the recipe. Whereas someone like Mrs. Ronan Kazi will make something and she'll just say, I go, how do I know if it's done? She'll say, you know it because you can smell it. So here's one of the first things. That's a little washed out. That's the filter I picked. It's washed out anyways. The colors aren't as vibrant because you're on a planet. You don't know the atmosphere. So instead of, normally I put a certain filter on and I put a different filter on. I'll probably use that different filter for this game. And it'll always be a little bit, they call this one trendy, YouTube. So I'm going to probably use the trendy filter on Starfield. Why was I reluctant to do Starfield? Because I had Fallout 4, and that's a great game, but it's a single-player game. I have, Skyrim, I've never been a big I didn't complete Skyrim. I played Skyrim, but it wasn't like, you know, I didn't play it as much as I played Fallout. And Starfield looks good. There's a lot of, some of the first games that I really sunk a lot of time to were space type games. Star Command is a game that comes to mind. I spent a lot in A school playing on a Toshiba T100, I think it's called. Maybe I'll get a picture and put it into the video. I love that. That was a great laptop. It was like kind of the first solid state laptop. I mean, it had a floppy, but... So we're going to do some combat right now. I have a pistol. It has the most damage. It does a damage of 10. The other weapons are like 3 and 4, but they're higher rate of fire. And I'm being pretty conservative. I've been playing the game at this point. This is like the first drill off the starter, right? So I'm not sure what to expect. I also think I've said this to you before, that they don't make games. There's very few games I can think of them. Ninja Gaiden is a game, and I think Dead Souls, I haven't played that, but I think Dead Souls is a game supposed to be by that. Might be made by the same people. Those games are hard right off the bat. They're made to challenge you right off the bat. There's no ramping up to it. It's just hard immediately. But when you want to have the widest range for a game, you're going to make it so it's accessible. And so immediately, I haven't read anything, how to do anything. On a PC, you're going to use E and F a lot, but that's like the A button on an Xbox. But other than that, I'm just figuring out how to fly and all that other stuff, how to dock. Really, the mechanic, when you want to interact with something, you go into like this examine mode. That's the F key. And then that gives you different options. You can't just get close to it and then the game doesn't know automatically. Going to give another thing to games. It's cute when you make me adjust the power of the ship. But then after I learn that mechanic a couple times, I just want it to be automatic. Again, this is an AI. I want everyone to think about this. Why can't the AI figure out that and regress one more? LumaFusion. You autocorrect for thank you for watch. Thank you for, but you don't have watching in there. And I've typed it 392 times. I've said watching, and you can't figure out, you can't get smart enough to add that. Man, after thank you, he's going to put after thank you for, he's going to put a watching. So that's the AI. That's the part where I doubt the AI is going to, I mean, I'll be a believer in AI when I kind of think of those things. And in this game, I'm in a spaceship. I have a robot walking around with me. Yet, it can't figure out that here's the settings I usually want to do. If I go outside, I'd naturally put on my gear to go outside in the atmosphere. Like I walked outside at one place and got hurt, and I had to go back in and manually put my stuff on. Those should be automatic. I understand the first time I do it, then a little pop-up should come up. Do you want me to do this automatically for you? Yes, because I'm playing a game. I'm not wasting processing power to remember to put my clothes on, but apparently I am in this game. Normally, this is when I ask you to like, subscribe, share, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Comment if they're working, hit the notification. What are my first impressions of Starfield? It's nice. It's familiar enough like Fallout, but it's new enough that there's new space things. The scale of it's different. You're going to different planets. It's interesting to see how the planets are made or how they're represented. I guess there's over 1,000 planets or something like that. I'm following the mission right now, but eventually I might not. I might just go start exploring. But one of the things I use the pre-path in any game is to learn how to play the game, learn the mechanics. Once I've learned the mechanics, it's a little less, it's not as important that I stay on the script. I'm running this on my relatively new computer. I know that people were saying that, maybe it wasn't, and I just didn't even think about it, right? If this new computer can't run it, we'll run it on lower settings. I'm still amazed that people still try to run these on the Steam Deck, and, they get disappointed that a $300 or $400 computer can't run any part of, I'd be happy if it did any part of this, right? And this is, obviously, this is where I'm going to talk to you about the attention of detail. In the title, it said, "Don't blink." As I was searching for a thumbnail, I was doing that fight scene because the enemy was close enough, and I noticed that the enemy blinked, closed its eyes. That's a level of detail that maybe, and I salute to you developers for doing that. That's a level of detail that is remarkable in a game. So how many things am I going to miss? I'm going to have to go back and see and everything. But this is Starfield, kind of the first run in it. I want to show you. Probably going to do one more right next to it so you get an idea. And then I'm going to go off. I really don't want to do a ton of the story. That's not really, I think, fair to the developers. I think what's fair is to go explore and do some other things. I just got to figure out how to do it, YouTube. Also ran some, just a note about the channel, ran some Division Legendary. And so I have a good video, but I probably played the District Union probably like 3 or 4 hours yesterday and finally completed it. And there's a lot of reasons. That might be a two-parter because I did one thing that was really interesting, and then we had obviously some fails if it takes that long. And a way to make it harder than it already is. Want to thank everyone that's had patience with the channel as I struggle with this commenting thing. I appreciate everyone watching. I am thinking about a new job. I don't know how that's going to impact my playing. I have to figure it out. If I travel, I don't know how I do it. At one point, just editing the videos and recording, that's one thing that's pretty easy to do on the road, and that's lightweight. But if I have to play games on the road, maybe I have to play games on the weekend and then put it out. We'll figure it out. Maybe you're going to just start getting me driving down the road and me talking over it. So I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when it comes, YouTube. This is Ronan Kazi. Starfield. Early access weekend. Hope you have a good one, YouTube. Bye.